Hey, how's it going everyone? Dylan here. Today we're going to be taking a look at Damien Chazelle's new movie that's coming out soon, First Man. Now first off, I'd really like to thank Universal Pictures Australia for inviting me to the Adelaide premiere of First Man earlier this week, and Event Cinemas Marion for hosting this event. It was a fun night. It was champagne and things. Probably not a good idea to give champagne before a 2.5-hour movie, but you know, what you gonna do? First Man, directed by Damien Chazelle, opens with what I can only really describe as an utterly terrifying look at being a test pilot in the 60s. You can hear every little nut and bolt vibrating, every piece of metal warping, and it is incredibly unnerving for what felt like an absolute eternity. This really set the tone for the rest of the film, and that I was in for a pretty wild ride here. And yet, First Man isn't really all just space flight and planes and rockets and things like that going around the screen. The film itself majorly focuses on Neil Armstrong himself and how different events affect him that lead up to the moon landing. So we get all the stuff, most of the stuff he did before for NASA and as a test pilot before that, and kind of with people obviously dying in these kinds of situations and how it actually affected him as a person and influenced his decisions and what he ended up doing. Obviously Ryan Gosling plays Neil Armstrong, Claire Foy plays his wife, and they both turn out absolutely stellar performances here. Really emotionally charged scenes between them all the way through the movie, and it's very riveting and well acted and scripted. This is one of those movies where the supporting cast is absolutely stacked to the brim with people that you recognise, like well-known actors, not just extras that you might never see again or in the background of other films. A standout here for me was actually Jason Clarke, who plays Ed White, who's the first American to do an EVA in space, to be tethered outside of the spaceship. Early on I wasn't really keen on his character, but he kind of turned around and really turned out to be a character I really cared about, which obviously if you look up Ed White online, then you might know where it's leading. One of the interesting qualities of First Man that I first noticed upon the opening sequence was the almost exclusive use of medium to long telephoto lenses in its cinematography. You almost never see wide shots. There's a few scattered around for establishing shots and when like rocket is launching and things like that. But for the majority of the film, like any conversations and things like that, it's actually quite zoomed in, which gives a really intimate, very raw feel. That combined with it being mostly handheld really adds to the kind of immersion and the raw aspect to it. The film also looks the part. It's actually shot on 2perf film, which is not really used that much anymore. It's like using only the scope area of the film, like to conserve film space. So you actually end up with a bit lower resolution than, say, a full frame or an anamorphic presentation, which gives it this kind of really organic feel. It doesn't look like it's low res or anything because it's film, but kind of like similar to the feel you get from 16mm sometimes, so in Aronofsky's films. It really adds to the immersion there. In First Man, we get some absolutely amazing space sequences. The way most of these are edited and shot creates a pure sense of dread and a knot in your stomach that I can only describe as similar to the feeling I have when I watch Gravity, or at least when I watched it originally in the cinema at the premiere. And it was just terror. The entire audience, you could feel, was all holding their breaths because it was just so terrifying. Production design here is really good. Everything feels very real and rickety, like they kind of probably really were, especially the early Gemini spacecraft and the test planes and things like that. Really, really adds to everything of the film as a whole. When we finally get to the Apollo landing, the cinematography kind of switches a bit because I think they basically, for the lunar sequences, they used full IMAX cameras, and you can feel it switch. It's actually incredibly graceful to watch, and it's actually a cool kind of contrast to the earlier parts of the film, which is when they're kind of building up their technology and, you know, like they're doing all this to tests to actually build the Apollo module and the Saturn V rocket to actually get them to the moon in the end. And there's really a lot of slow pans absolutely majestic images on screen. From impeccably shot, stellar space sequences to absolute emotional gut punches, First Man really excels, and it's a film you have to see on the biggest screen possible. I can't stress that enough. Utterly fantastic experience, and I enjoyed every second of it. I highly recommend this film, and I'll definitely be grabbing this when it eventually comes out on Ultra HD Blu-ray day one. Thanks again to Universal Pictures Australia for providing me the invite, and Marion Event Cinemas for hosting. Hope you enjoyed my video. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more. Hit that bell button to be notified of new uploads as they become available. Lots of videos coming up in the next few weeks. Obviously, Adelaide Film Festival starts in less than 2 weeks now, so very, very keen for that. Look forward to reviews almost every day during that period. I'm going to be wrecked, but I'm going to do it for all of you. So it's going to be fun, going to be interesting, my first ever film festival, so look forward to that. Hit me up in the comments or on Twitter, always open for a chat about film, life, coffee, anything. Until next time, take care.